For either traditional Darwinian evolutionists or those holding to any other conceivable branch of evolutionary theory to possibly be correct, the fossil record absolutely must contain clear transitional forms between one kind of organism and another. If evolutionary theory is true, then we would now have museums full of conclusive intermediate fossils between different creature kinds. While evolutionists have been searching nearly 150 years for a convincing fossil link, they found nothing at all. As Marvin Lubenow said, for 100 years evolutionists paraded the fossils they had found as evidence for evolution. They promised more and better fossils in the future, but by the early 1970s, when it became obvious that we had more than an adequate sampling of the fossil record, the grim reality dawned that those transitional fossils were not to be found. Even Darwin admitted, if there are no intermediate forms, then I have devoted my life to a fantasy. Sadly, that's exactly what Darwin did, since his theory bears no real evidence. The scientific fact is every fossil extricated from the geologic record is a fully formed creature lacking transitional features. For example, scientists have not excavated any reptile fossils with bird-like feathers, which evolutionists claim must exist if their theory is valid. Truly, feathers appear suddenly and fully formed in the fossil record, and no transitional structure between reptilian scales and avian feathers has been found, as evolutionary theory demands. Even the well-known Archaeopteryx fossil, which is commonly used to support the claim that birds evolved from reptiles, has failed to become a conclusive missing link, as now admitted by some secular scientists who have conceded it is simply a bird. For example, evolutionary biologist Dr. Alan Fiducia said, paleontologists have tried to turn Archaeopteryx into an earthbound feathered dinosaur, but it's not. It's a bird, a perching bird, and no amount of paleobabble is going to change that. Archaeoraptor is another famous fossil from China, which evolutionists constructed by deceptively combining the body of a bird with a dinosaur tail. The fraud was so atrocious that National Geographic magazine was forced, after previously glamorizing the fossil, to include a rare retraction in the back pages of a future issue, which admitted, in their words, it's a tale of misguided secrecy and misplaced confidence, of rampant egos clashing, self-aggrandizement, wishful thinking, naive assumptions, human error, stubbornness, manipulation, backbiting, lying, corruption, and most of all, abysmal communication. Unfortunately, fossil fiascos such as those involving Archaeoraptor, Piltdown Man, Lucy, and Ida are common among secular scientists seeking fame and fortune for discovering missing links. Scientists and media outlets that publish stories such as these before fully investigating the evidence are deceiving the public, but don't expect them to say they're sorry for spreading misinformation. The crushing weight of fossil evidence prompted evolutionary paleontologist George Simpson to state, the regular absence of transitional forms is not confined to mammals, but is an almost universal phenomenon, as has been long noted by paleontologists. It is true of almost all orders of all classes of animals, vertebrate and invertebrate. It is also true of the classes and of the major animal phyla, and it is also apparently true of analogous categories of plants. David Kitts, a prominent evolutionary paleontologist from the University of Oklahoma, admitted, despite the bright promise that paleontology provides a means of seeing evolution, it has presented some nasty difficulties for evolutionists, the most notorious of which is the presence of gaps in the fossil record. Evolution requires intermediate forms between species, and paleontology does not provide them. As highly respected evolutionist Stephen Jay Gould remarked, the extreme rarity of transitional forms in the fossil record persists as a trade secret of paleontology. The evolutionary trees that adorn our textbooks have data only at the tips and nodes of their branches, the rest is inference, however reasonable, not the evidence of fossils. The tree on the left symbolizes the hope of evolutionists, while the tree on the right represents reality based on actual fossils. As Gould said, the main branches are completely missing. As Duane Gish correctly observed, evolution is the substance of fossils hoped for, the evidence of links unseen. Still, despite the clear message that Darwin's theory fails to explain the fossil record, evolutionists continue to arrange certain fossils in hypothetical sequences and claim them as overwhelming evidence.